Hey there, this is Teresa, and I am so excited to be doing my second ever Facebook Live interview. So I have with me here today Melissa Sonsalla. She's from rural Minnesota, kind of not far from where I grew up. And I've had the privilege of knowing her for a couple of years now, but I've had the privilege of journeying intimately with her for these past 4+ months because she's been a coaching client of mine in my Claim Your Money Power coaching program. And the way she has taken on that program, the way she has been claiming her power, and the abundance and transformation and freedom that has shown up these past 4 months is truly amazing and inspiring. So is the fact, Melissa, that you were willing to show up here live on Facebook and tell us a little bit about your story. And I really want to acknowledge you for that, because I know you know this is true of you. It's been true of me. It's true of many of my clients. It's like, especially around money stuff, like we want to hide that. We don't want anybody to know. And if it's not going well, then we're kind of hiding it, and yet we're ashamed or we're embarrassed, and it's our dark secret. And so I really acknowledge you for the courage you show and the generosity you're sharing in being willing to set all of that aside and just say, hey, here's my story. Here's what's been happening with me. So I thank you and I congratulate you. I see we've got some people who have hopped on. Susie's here, Michelle's here, Anne's here. Great. I know we'll catch some more people via the replay, but I also want you to know that I really consider this call, this time we're going to spend together, really a celebration. You know how I always ask, have you celebrated? Have you celebrated your progress? So this is just like a big time in public, others celebrating with you. That's what this is. So thank you for being here. Are you breathing?
I am breathing.
I asked that question a lot. You know that.
Or we get the reminder, keep breathing. Just keep breathing.
Exactly. So, so how about if you just begin with a little bit of your story? I will never forget the Saturday morning last October when you reached out to me. But how about you give people a sense of where you were, what was happening with you at that time that wound up having us work together in this program?
So yeah, I'm going to just really, really quickly go back even a little bit farther. So meeting you approximately 2 years before that,
yep.
Had really had some consideration and really felt drawn to your program. And then had a conversation with my husband. And that was kind of a shift in saying, like, gosh, I really think this is what we need to do. I'm really feeling like I'm drawn to this program. And there was some hesitation on his part, which then caused me to hesitate. And I there has to be an understanding that I kept thinking I could figure it out. And I kept thinking, like, I'm a smart girl.
Yes, you are.
I'm a smart girl and I can figure this out. And you know, I've been in business and I'm a business coach and I'm doing all these things and I should be able to figure this out.
Yes.
Is the mentality that I carried.
Yep.
And every year I kept trying. Every January I would say, okay, this is the year. Like this, we are going to master this.
Yes.
And this is going to work. And we're going to, and I will say, I mean, every year was progress. But it just was not the amount of progress that I needed. And in October, on that Saturday morning when I reached out to you, it was, I could no longer do what I was doing. I literally was to a point physically, emotionally, when it came to finances. There was so much fear and anxiety. I was having panic attacks. And at that time, My husband works out of state in the fall. And so at that point, there's that added level of stress as well. But it was literally that point where I'm like, I cannot do this one more day without a plan, like without a rock solid plan. And I have no idea what that plan is. And I keep trying to create it and it's not working. And I immediately thought of you. So that was that day.
Cool. So if you're willing, like what was happening in your finances that you kept trying to figure it out and fix and turn around again and again and again?
So, and again, like these are things that have been conversations for years, right? So I have my own company. And unfortunately my company was struggling. I was struggling. And I really, my husband just kept saying, well, we just need to make more money. We just need to make more money. And over the course of being in business on my own for almost 10 years, my head heard, you need to make more money because I've got the full-time job, right? So he had the full-time job, he had the steady income, he had the salary. So it was, I have to make more money, which that created a whole bunch of pressure. And so that pressure just became insurmountable. I mean, that pressure just became, and the farther along I went trying to gain traction in my business and create new opportunities and different things that I could do, the more they didn't work. And the more, it had just become this vicious cycle.
Sure. You're afraid and you feel more pressure, but then that pressure has you not want to do anything. And then you feel more pressure and more fear. And then you're afraid to do anything because you know that you'd be doing it from desperation and fear. And you know that's not good. So then you don't do anything. And all the while you weren't making the additional income that you thought you needed to make, what was happening in your bank account and with your money?
It was disappearing. It was negative. It was non-existent. It was, I don't know. I mean, yeah.
You were hanging on for your husband's bonus check.
We were hanging on. Yes. So, and that was, and I could see the pattern. And I think that was part of it for me in October. I could see the pattern that we would get the check and we would start the new year off and we'd have a new plan. And we would sometimes do it and sometimes not do it. And we would sometimes put the money aside and we would sometimes not. But I think that was, and not necessarily consciously, but I think subconsciously, me knowing that bonus check was coming and me knowing that we had to do something different than what we've done the last 4 years. Because I couldn't physically keep doing what I was doing, and I couldn't emotionally keep doing what I was doing. And I mean, again, I think that there's so much more to this program than the plan. Yeah, I just wanted the plan. Like, just give me, like, again, I'm a smart girl. Just tell me what to do, and I'll do it. But there's so much more to this that I needed. In order to have the money conversations with my husband, in order to have those and then be positive conversations, because I never had conversations before. And again, there was a part of that was my fault. And it wasn't until this program that I realized that, that fear for me, the fear for me really came true in that moment of like, if I can't handle all of this, then I'm not enough, then I'm not enough for him and I'm not enough for my kids. Like, if I should be able to take care of all of this shit and I can't take care of all of this shit anymore,
then I'm not enough. So I can't let anybody know that I'm not handling all of this stuff because then they'll know my secret. And that was about where I was going to ask you. And throughout all of this, how many people would you think in your world knew that all of this was going on?
3.
Yeah. And what would you guess most people thought was so of you based on the way you showed up in the world? You were so conscious of showing up in the world. What do you think most people thought? Did they think, would they have guessed that this was going on for you?
No.
No. Nope.
And it's so funny because I have spoke to that exact thing. Like, when I first launched my coaching company, I remember sitting there and looking at my husband and going, man, like, I'm having a tough week. And he was like, really? He's like, I would have never guessed.
Yeah.
I would have never guessed. And again, I feel like I am a truly authentic, tell it like it is kind of girl. And yet in that one little perspective, it was so much more about my perception of myself and my worth. And if I can't handle all of this, and it wasn't that I'm not making enough, so I'm not good enough. It wasn't the dollar amount. It was no, I should be able to figure this out. Like, I should be able to figure this out, and why can't I figure this out?
Yeah, kind of like that article. Just put my big girl panties on and deal with it. What's my problem?
Right.
And so what you spoke to, and then I want to go fast forward to kind of like what's happening now. So that's then, and this is now. But one of the things that I think that you got pretty early on is it isn't just about knowing what to do. It's the mechanics of, let's look at your money and let's get clarity and let's get this plan. All that does is bring up what needs to be healed so that then you can do what you know to do and want to do. Was that been your experience?
Yes. And I think there has to be, oh my gosh, I'm going to say this. Okay. So, all or nothing. That's how I roll. And I knew that to some degree before working with you. And it seems like, oh, darn it, and everything that I do since I started working with you, it is I'm so aware of it.
Yes.
And so I think that's the other piece of the puzzle. So even though it absolutely is not just the plan, there's so much more. And I knew that. And I'm always one, like, I love mindset stuff. That's my jam. That's where I show up. I always want to grow and be a better me. But for me, it was like the gradual, right? Like, so we're going to just do this piece. And then that's it. That's all you have to, like, whereas me, I'm like, okay, give me the worksheet, and I'm going to do it all tomorrow.
Yes.
And then I'm not going to think about it again. And that was the problem in years past. So I feel like that piece of it, and knowing, but knowing that component of myself much better now.
Yep.
And also with the work that we've done, having an understanding of why it is the way that, why that is the way it is for me. Because again, it's not just about dollars and cents. And I knew that going into it. I remember my biggest thing, right? How am I going to pay for this program when I don't have any freaking money? Like, that does not make any sense. Right? Like that, and 2 years ago, my husband looked at me and says, why do we have to pay somebody to teach us how to not spend money? Like, that doesn't make any sense either.
I got it.
Like that.
I got it.
So for us, like, looking at that piece, it's like I kept coming back. Like, I kept going, gosh, I know that there's so much more to this. And having that conversation after we had talked, having that conversation with my mom and going, that there is something more to this.
Yes.
Like, I am blocking a whole bunch of stuff because it's not supposed to be this hard. And I don't know why, or I don't know what, and I don't know how, but there is something beyond me that I need to figure out about me.
Yes.
Because there's a missing link, and I need to figure out what that missing link is.
Yeah. And so we've figured out some of those and we've made shifts. And so now I'll share the good news. You're not even done with the program. We're wrapping up in the next few weeks. But just what are some of the things that have happened? What are some of the changes that you're experiencing? How has all that you were feeling, any more panic attacks?
No. Oh, no. No, and actually they stopped. It truly, I mean, within shortly after I said yes, like shortly after I said, okay, yes, I will. I don't know how, but I will find the money and I will figure out the way, because I know that this is what I need for me right here, right now. So as soon as I had mentally made that decision, they stopped. And I knew that was, I mean, like, that was the first sign. Like, that was okay, now I at least have a plan. Now it's not just now it's not just all on my shoulders.
Yes.
I have a plan, and I have somebody to support me in doing whatever the hell that plan is going to be. I don't even know what that plan is going to be, but I have somebody to help me do it. Yeah. And so they stopped shortly. I mean, like within a couple of days after saying yes. So that was amazing. I feel like I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. And I still have a lot of work to do. I mean, that is like that's just the reality of it. Because this is the more that I think that's the funny thing about this whole perspective. Like, again, I don't know or understand why, but my mentality was like, oh, I'll get this all figured out and then I'll be done. But that doesn't work.
That would be true. That would be true, all or nothing,
Right. You're right. So I'm just going to go do this program quick and figure it out and check that off and then whatever. And so the biggest thing I think is that the daily component, like I need to be watching. No one else is going to watch my money the way that I watch my money. And so engaging in that piece is the other end of the spectrum. I was a denial girl. Like, if I don't look at the checking account, then it's not going to go negative. It'll be fine. And so that, I mean, and so now to be on the other end of that spectrum where I don't look at the checking account, because I know that as long as we are staying where we're supposed to stay with Target, we're good. Like, I don't need to pay attention to what's in the account. I don't have to look at it. But I think the most important piece, and this is so, for all of the people that follow me, this will make sense for them. But for me, the piece is like me standing up for the things that I need to speak about money with my husband. And me staying, like, being beyond the guilt of not making enough money, and beyond the, the frustration and the pressure and all of those things. I'm celebrating an opportunity that was given to me on a silver platter, with a magic wand that I said exactly what I wanted and I got it. And an understanding that, as much as I knew in my heart, it wasn't just about me making more money, that there was more. I mean, there was more to our financial challenges. Being on the other side of the spectrum and being able to say, no, this is a piece of the puzzle as well.
So one of the things that this is reminding me of, it's one of the little metaphors I've used in the program is, if you're a kid and you don't know how to handle a kitty scope of ice cream, if you spill that, who would ever give you a triple scoop? Because that's just going to be so frustrating. And what I'm hearing and listening to you celebrate is that, yeah, you needed to make more money and you didn't really know how, and then you were afraid, and then you let that go and learned how to use the money that you already had in new, more abundant and empowered ways. And more than anything, you finally stopped trying to do it yourself and fix it, and opened up to conversations with your husband and a partnership with your husband that I don't even think you dreamed could happen.
No, and again, it's that realization that this wasn't about him not being willing to help.
Yes.
This was about me not being willing to allow him to
yes.
help, which
yes.
only then multiplied the pressure.
Yep.
And so it was, I mean, so that's, truly that's the big, I mean, and, you know.
And then you got those pieces in place, and then voila, on a silver platter, here comes this opportunity for you to make more money than you might have expected, doing exactly what you love to do. And you get to feel confident in making that money, because I think now you're starting to trust yourself with that money.
Yes. And I remember, I can't remember if it was just, it was before starting the program. I mean, I remember a conversation and my husband saying, well, we just need to make more money. And I called him out and I was like, no, what you're saying is I need to make more money, right? And like, so it kind of comes into this battle. And I said, at the end of the day, I can make all the money in the world, but if we blow it, if we spend, and like there's two, like, we don't know how to manage it. We don't know how to manage it. And so that, I mean, and I knew that, but I didn't know how to help him understand that.
Right.
And believe me, we're getting it. Like, he's getting it. He's seeing things now because I'm going, see, this is what I was talking about.
Yep.
Like, we made a deal on this target and we're not going over that target. So here are your options.
Yeah. And you stopped hiding and trying to do it all yourself. So a couple of closing questions, because we're coming up on our time. So one is, outside of the money arena, in the money shifts that you're experiencing, what's different because of your participation in the program? What else has changed, or what are you feeling now that you weren't feeling 4 months ago?
The pressure. I mean, that's the biggest change. And a realization, that, again, it's, this is meant to be a partnership. I'm not going to lie. When I went into this program, my mentality was, he doesn't need to know. What he doesn't know won't hurt him. And I will do this program and I will make the money and it's going to fix everything and he won't need to know anything.
Yeah, that whole hiding thing.
And that whole concept blew up in my face. No, it didn't. But that whole concept, like, I hit a point going, yeah, I could probably do this on my own, but it sure as hell isn't going to work the way that I want it to work, because I want this to be a partnership. This needs to be a partnership in our marriage. And so that was, so that piece, it's changed so much. And obviously, again, the more that we are having those open and honest conversations about money, and celebrating the things that we're doing, which I will still admit we are not great at. We're not great at the celebration. It's okay, the kids are in bed and we need to go over this really quick. And so we're just going to talk about this for 5 minutes. And this is what the plan is. And this is what I'd like to do. And does that sound good to you?
And that's still progress.
Right, absolutely. Because before I would just do it on my own. I would just say, yep, I think I'm going to do this and I'm going to transfer this and I'm going to do that. And and just do it. And I caught myself. There was a couple of times where I was like, oh, I'm going to go in and I'm going to take care of that piece. And then it was like, no, and I would text him and say, hey, I was going to do this. but let's have a conversation about it tonight.
Yes.
And so I think that there's appreciation from him in that too. I think, you know, just him knowing that when I had said I wanted him to be involved, it wasn't just to be the sounding board. Like, I want him to be able to make these decisions with me as well. So the pressure of me not going it alone.
And instead of pressure, what are you feeling now? What's replaced the pressure?
What's replaced the pressure?
Instead of what you're not feeling, this is like on our calls, our coaching calls.
Yeah.
Instead of if you're not feeling pressure, what are you feeling now instead?
Well, I went into this saying I just need to be at peace.
And
I'm at peace.
Cool.
And again, I am in an understanding that this is continual work. Whether if I want to continue having the success with the tools and the things that you've taught me, then I have to practice. Yeah.
Yep. So let's go back to that day in October when you said yes. What was the scariest thing about that yes?
How the fuck am I going to pay for this?
Got it. And now looking back at that yes and all that's transpired, what's the most exciting thing about that yes?
I have a plan to have it paid off in 6 months.
And?
In a peaceful way.
And it sounds to me, and I could be crazy, so don't let me put words in your mouth, like you're relaxed and enjoying your life a heck of a lot more too, Melissa.
Oh, yeah.
And taking care of you just a bit more?
Just a little bit, a lot more.
Awesome.
And again, okay, so there's no guilt there. Like, I used to feel guilty that I was doing whatever because we didn't have the money, because we couldn't afford it. And now it's like, no, sorry. Like, I will purchase the supplements that I want to purchase, and I will purchase my yoga sessions, and I like those, like, I have to have that.
Yeah.
And so,
yes, because if you're not taking care of you, you will not take care of your money either.
Right.
So what would you say in closing here? And thank you again. It was fun to hear you celebrate. We could go on and on because there's been so much. I feel like we're a little bit like the movie Seabiscuit. You know, when they made the movie of Seabiscuit, they couldn't put all the amazing things in the movie. They had to cut some out. I kind of feel like that's what we've just done. But what would you say to someone who's maybe experiencing some of the same things you were experiencing around money, probably thinks, I can't afford it, or I can't do this, or whatever? What would you say to someone who's maybe feeling like, maybe I want to check out this program, or maybe there's something I need to change around my money? Based on your experience, what would you tell them?
I just said to Eric the other night, I said, look at how far we've come in less than 4 months. Just think how far ahead we could have been had we started 2 years ago when I wanted to. And so that's it. It was fear that stopped me, and it was the same fear that stopped me then as what was the fear in October. The difference was I just knew that I couldn't do what I was doing anymore. And and 2 years before that, I wasn't there yet. Unfortunately, I look back and I think I would have never ended up there had I done it 2 years ago.
Yep.
So for anyone that is saying, man, I really think that I need some help, and I really think that this is something that I want to move forward with, trust in yourself that you can do it, and then trust that you can find a way financially, because it's worth every penny and then some.
Thank you. Thank you. And I would add to what you said, and that is especially true if, like Melissa, you've been trying to figure it out by yourself. If you've been hiding the truth from others, and if at some level you fear not being good enough or not important enough or not whatever enough, then I really think this program might have your name on it. So if you're interested in exploring it, we got a couple of ways coming up. You can maybe learn a little bit more. I'm going to see if this works across the screen. Yay, I did this techie thing. So we got a free webinar coming up that can give you a taste of what the Claim Your Money Power 16-week coaching program is about. You can go to that at claimyourmoneypower.com and register. And if you think you want to like have a conversation with me like Melissa and I had last October, then you can also shoot me an email at support@accessabundance.com and just say you're interested in a free strategy call with me. And either I or my assistant, Ann, will get back to you and we'll get that scheduled. So Melissa, thank you. Thank you for your courage and just showing up and telling your story. Thank you for your generosity in doing that. I celebrate how far you've come, and I know we've still got some time to work together. So even further, one final question: are you still breathing?
I am.
All of you, Michelle, Susie, everybody who's catching the replay, thanks for being here. Love to hear your feedback, your comments, specifically what in Melissa's story like touched you or you could relate to or maybe inspired you. I would really love to hear that. That would be your way of celebrating with Melissa. So please feel free to share them below. We'll see y'all later. Bye, everybody. Thanks for being here.